Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. So a little later than we would have liked to have done this one, we're testing the Cobra RADSPEED XB.
Yes, the big brother.
The forgiving bigger brother.
More forgiving big brother.
The faster RADSPEED we've already tested that we really actually enjoyed a lot.
I thought that was a really good driver. Yeah, I've been looking forward to this one because SPEEDZONE XTREME, I recall with Jose at the show, you guys dialed it in quite well. I remember getting some great numbers with it. Such a, it's not an offensively big head, but it is a big, like, confidence-inspiring head, and it's very forgiving. Last year's model was anyway. It kind of turned into like a sleeper, like quite a high ball speed, but quite a straight hitting driver. Almost won the bracket, now that I recall.
Yeah, it was really, really close. And one of the things with that, with the forgiven versions of the Cobra driver for you, Matt, is that weight positioned all the way back, the way that it is, allows you to actually play less loft. That's why it ends up being a long driver for you, because you get a little bit more ball speed, because you can turn the loft down from a 10.5 normally down to a 9 or 9.5, a little bit more ball speed. You've got the CG far enough back that you get great launch and great consistency from your spin rates. Things that we're always looking to do to create balance. And I think this will be more of the same. I'm just kind of maybe hoping that there's a couple of miles an hour extra that they've snuck out the ball speed. That'd be really good to see.
Especially on different parts of the face. Like, I think last year's SPEEDZONE dead center was one of our fastest. It wasn't probably the best on off-center strikes. Maybe this radial weighting system has given us some improvement. It would appear that that's the main change from last year.
Exactly. So with this radial weighting system you just mentioned, obviously with the driver we tested previously, most of that weight was at the front, that fixed weight. Now we have 20 grams positioned just at the back, okay? So we have 14 of that is fixed in at the back, and then you have the adjustable 6 gram weight back there. And then in the radial ports at the front, we've got 8 grams of fixed weight.
Gotcha.
We should expect to see this one, be in the slightly higher spin region, maybe mid 2s.
I would think so, yeah. I'm looking for, what I want to see is just what you described. I'd like to see something that is producing a lot of ball speed, but is very forgiving and does sit a bit higher in spin. So it gets the distance from more speed, not necessarily a knuckly flight. That's the appeal of it for me, because I like to go at it a bit, but I don't want to lose the ball due to a low spin rate or something like that.
Definitely. So this should be good. And then obviously, as we normally do, we will test the 2020 model against it. Obviously in its kind of former self. Without the radial weighting system, you can see obviously, there's no weight kind of positioned at the front anymore, and or last year there wasn't any positioned at the front. Still get the same 6 gram of adjustable weight.
And I think a lot of SPEEDZONE XTREME owners would look at this one and go, I see there's updates, but it does look quite similar in terms of the shape. When you put it down to address, aside from the color changes, like, they are quite similar drivers. So I can understand that person being a bit concerned whether they need to bother upgrading, and we'll find out today if it's a year over year there's worth an upgrade, or if you wait till next year.
Okay, I like it. Straight lasers.
I like that.
Didn't leave that line. Did not leave the width of that line.
Ooh. It's nice too. It's coming off hot. I'm liking the sound so far.
That's a beauty.
Yep, like that. Good. Yeah. good. It's a better flight. It's a better sound. It looks better at address.
They've improved just about everything on it.
Yeah, I just think everything is a little bit better. The sound is way better, but everything else just is a little touch nicer.
That's a rocket launcher. That
You can hammer it. Yeah, I think this would be fun with autoflex at like 7.5 degrees or something like that.
Yeah.
It's very stable, very forgiving. I mean, I towed that one. It was a good result.
It's giving you a little nod towards the efficiency on the Extreme, but not too much going on there. Probably a little bit to do with the less delivered loft.
Fair.
Dynamic lie, both a little toe up.
Definitely.
5 to 6 is your sweet spot, so we don't love to see up at 9. Typically makes your ball start too far to the right.
Yeah.
And any amount of toe strike then curves that way.
I mean, I think that's something that people should consider. I don't want to say there's no way you could set this up to be more neutral. There probably is some ways you would tinker with that, and we only tried one shaft.
Yeah.
But you don't have toe to heel adjustability, and it is quite upright. So I think it's just something you have to keep in mind when you demo it. It is a bit biased towards that side.
And guys, just be a little careful as well for those of you who end up playing the driver a little bit longer, who end up playing at 46, because that will push the lie angle up as well. We actually played this at 45.
That's right. We might have seen it over 10.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, you would do if you went to that longer length. Face angle was kind of a bit of work to keep it open, but you done that, and the path was slightly inside and on the up. So all things considered, it's about as the best you can do in terms of replicating delivery. Strike is in the same zone, so some of that may explain what we see here, but also there's some nuances in the heads. The ball speed is the same, 172 on both, which is good.
It's really good. Yeah, I mean, I think last year's driver was really good on that. It wouldn't have been something they were looking to improve, just the overall head performance, the forgiveness of it.
Yeah, we've seen, actually earlier testing today, kind of 172 has been, it's been a pretty good one for you today.
Definitely.
172, you had 174 with XB.
Yeah, very fast.
Which is good.
Yep.
They're launching in a nice spot. We were playing that at 10.5 turned down to 9.5. Because we have the CG back a little bit just to offset the face. But here's where we see the biggest difference of the whole test. The 400 RPMs of difference, even though the launch is very similar and the delivered loft is very similar, 400 RPMs is basically the story of the radial weighting system.
Yeah.
That's that 8 grams.
That's legit. 5 yards of carry just for that kind of difference in spin is a big deal.
Flattens out the flight. You can just see the subtle difference of seeing that apex just dip below the SPEEDZONE XTREME. Then it comes in a little bit flatter. Actually, like you talked about there, 5 yards further and 7 more in terms of the total roll.
It's really quite good. Yeah. Now, that being said, this is probably more of a fitting difference. We put them at the exact same loft. So if, for me, the new one was better because it was lower spin.
Yeah.
But it's important to just use this as a test. I think it's a lower spin driver now. Kind of looks
is.
like they've used that 8 grams just to drop. It's not a ton of spin. It's not like putting a crazy heavy weight at the front like last year's driver. But I think they've done a good job of getting that person a bit more distance out of the more forgiving driver. Like, there's no downside to it now.
Definitely. For those of you who use the adjustable sleeve, you just got to be a little mindful with this, that the heads are not all the same lie angle, starting lie angle. The 9-degree head is actually flatter than the 10.5, so by a degree. There actually may be an argument that you would actually done a little bit better with the 9 straight up.
Straight up, which I'm sure we'll test. Yeah.
And I think we were chatting about the bracket earlier on. How do we set this driver up the best it can be for the bracket?
I think that's
the one we want to get.
Agree.
we want to get that one for sure.
But I'm impressed with the driver overall. I'm really happy that they improved that sound and feel.
Sound, feel, and spin.
So much better.
Those three things look like they've really changed.
Address look, I think is quite a bit better. The
you
new one,
the old one sat a little bit up and open.
Weird combination of upright and open. Yeah. So now, to be fair, you set it open, but even like set on square, the toe sits up quite a bit, and it just seems to hang a bit. So I think the new one, the address position is just a bit more pleasing.
Yeah. All in all, I think they've made the right improvements. Not a crazy difference.
Nice refinement, nice update.
Definitely. But these numbers are great. I love to see tests that shake out like this. Nice tight standard deviations going on there. Good ball flight with both. A lot to like about it. I just think that slight movement to the right where it moves slightly out and then over kind of curves. Yeah. I think that's in the lie angle.
Absolutely. If we could neutralize that a bit, this is one of the better drivers that we've had in terms of launch and spin numbers.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, good. I think there's a test coming up. It's been in my mind for a little bit. The most forgiving drivers of the new offerings from all the companies. Obviously, G425 Max. We're going to want to put in Sim 2 Max. We're going to want to put in Epic
Max would be a great contender.
A good one because we know that has very similar characteristics actually to this.
But it has the sliding weight, doesn't it?
It does have a sliding weight.
Little ace up the sleeve.
That would be good. So we'll maybe a TSI 2 we'll throw in there. Not done too much testing with you with that driver.
I think in our initial test it was very forgiving.
Yeah.
So I think you've named probably the top 5. If there's any we've missed, maybe let us know. And we can always do it in 2 parts. But I think this year especially, the forgiving driver that you can dial in to be low spin and fast, it's going to be really appealing. Yeah. I mean, why play something that's less forgiving if you don't really need to?
No, definitely. No, that's good. That was worth the wait. I mean, I'm impressed with that. Yeah. That was really, really good. And we always have to talk about with the Cobra driver the slightly cheaper price point.
Really good price point. Yeah. So that's the thing. I think if you had the older one, you may not want to pay full pop for the new one. However, on a trade-in or maybe you sell it secondhand, I think saving yourself on a brand new driver $200 is always going to be significant. Yeah. And this thing is performing about as well as most of the other drivers and cheaper price. So I would expect to see them pick up some market share.
With 2 really good shaft offerings as stock.
That's a good point. So Motore F3. It's the real one.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other one? I forgot already.
Hazardous RDX Blue.
See, that's crazy. That was one of my favorite chassis we tried this year. And that's a good $400, something like that.
Yep. And with that ion finish, and it's the same. Wow. It's the same offering. So stiff and extra stiff. Slightly higher balance point, so if you do play that slightly longer length, there's all those sorts of things to consider.
It's still looking like one of the best value drivers of the year. I know we already kind of did that assessment, but it really is becoming clear cut how much better of sort of a deal that is than some of the other clubs.
Yep, excellent. We're impressed, very, very impressed with that, guys. I think we're just about there. I can't think of many others that we need to test before the bracket starts. We've not tested all the draw drivers. It's not really kind of
We'll save those for maybe some fit sessions with specific people. But I think just some final adjustments to the head settings we want to use for the bracket, and we'll be getting ready to go.
Okay, we're edging ever closer to the 2021 bracket. We're going to see who we crown as the king of the drivers for you, Matty boy. Right. Dial them in. Get out to Carnoustie, number 6, we think. Not unless they surprise us with FSX Pro, if there's a good way in which we can utilise maybe their new software. But we'll see. But I think until now, it might be back to Carnoustie number 6.
I think people enjoyed the ambiance there.
I did as well.
I did too.
Yeah, okay. Stay tuned for that, guys. We'll see you again soon.